And welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Busy week this week, but interesting week. Sorry. I start my show. I can't talk. I could talk up to this point, and then it all went away. Let's try this again. Here we go. Hi, hey. There we go. Hoo-hoo. Back in action. All right. How are you? So interesting week. This week has been covering a lot of different stuff. I'm not sure what to talk about first, but it's on my head. So let's talk about SBF. First of all, I didn't know who the heck SBF was until I did a story on him. I'm like, he's in the news a lot. I should maybe look into this. So his name is Sam Bankman-Fried. He's a huge political donor, billionaire. He was a billionaire until very recently, but apparently a bit of a Ponzi guy, bit of a Ponzi scheme dude. He had, and this is from my story. I try to dumb it down for you. And I stole this off somebody else, so they dumbed it down for me. But basically, what the guy did was he would inflate the value of tokens by manipulating the market. He got all his millions to begin with through market manipulation. He was able to do it through buying tokens in one market and then simultaneously, say that 5 times fast, selling it in another market where the value was higher. And it was an easy way for him to make money. He made a fortune, but then other people figured it out. So, hey, let's do this too. So it became more competitive. So he had to do more interesting chicanery. It's all shifty. The whole crypto market is shifty. I mean, if you want to invest in crypto, great, have fun. But it's for retirement, probably not a great idea. If you have extra money, you're like, yeah, let's roll the dice. That's what it is. Yeah, have at it. But know what you're getting into. So anyways, it's all chicanery and moving stuff around and smoke and mirrors. It just is. Sorry. And so that's how he's making his money. And then he started inflating his assets, because he wasn't making as much money as he used to. So he would create these tokens. You just create them. That's all. Some guy's just like, hey, I got a new token. It's a cat coin, or whatever you want to call it, and it's worth this. This is how much it's worth. So he then puts a limited supply out, which increases the value of them because they're in limited supply, so they're technically more in demand. While he keeps a ton of them, like just because they're all made up anyways, he keeps a ton of them in his balance sheet, which inflates his balance sheet or the company's net worth substantially without actually really there being any money. Because if he was to release it all at once, obviously that would drive down the value of this cat coin, for example. But they had like FTT tokens, I think was one of them, but they had a lot of different ones. So basically one company, he had a lot of companies, started eating it. And so in order to save this company, I believe it was the Alameda Research Group or something along those lines, he took investors' money out of FTX, which was a cryptocurrency exchange, essentially. And that's not legal. And he took a lot of money out because his other company was floundering. And basically, like all Ponzi schemes, it caught up with them. And now investors really are kind of out of luck because he's no longer a billionaire. I think they said he's worth like 600,000 from like billions or just something crazy like that. But essentially, I guess the long story short on this, 2 parts to this. Don't invest in crypto. Don't invest in it. If you want to gamble in it, okay, but just know you're gambling. You're not investing. It's like going to Vegas. What are you doing in Vegas? I'm investing this weekend at the blackjack table. No, you're not. You're gambling. As long as you're okay with that, then fine. But yeah, please. Because there was actually some companies stupid enough, to put some retirement money in this clown's FTX. Ontario School District in Canada, for one, did. And, that money's gone. That money's shot. Who the hell invests in, come on. Again, you can gamble in crypto. Have fun. Gamble in crypto because that's what it is. But you're not investing in crypto. Just stop it with the word investing in crypto in the same sentence. Just because it's all chicanery. It's all smoke and mirrors. You can argue if you want. People who argue that it isn't are invested in crypto. So, take that. Did I say invested in crypto? Oops. See how easy it is? They're gambling in crypto. Man. So yeah, that's it. But the big story, as always, is the lack of story on SBF. It's not that interesting. I was like, I guess I'll do this story. It's the first time I ever did a story that I wound up in the finance section on Rumble. I've never done a story that was in finance, usually in like vlogs or something. But yeah, so it's not being covered. Why isn't it being covered really more than it should? Everyone's making excuses for him. Everyone came down on the New York Times for doing this puff piece story on him, where at one point they even went into like his favorite video game. The guy literally stole billions, not millions, billions of dollars. And they're doing this. Oh, you're just, overextended yourself. You just tried to grow a little too fast. Good try there, buddy. Yeah, those billions are gone. Anyone who put money into your FTX is out of luck. But yeah, you're swell. Why? Because he's a huge, huge, huge donor for everybody, but especially the Democrat Party. He is second in terms of donations only to George Soros. He gave $40 million approximately to the Democrat Party for campaigns. And again, one of the biggest donors, second only to Soros for Biden. So the guy is connected. His family's connected. So they're circling the wagons around him. But he's so corrupt. It's so obvious. And the thing is, when people lose money, and the right people, if you will, lose money, suddenly things happen. You look at the big pharma dude, that colossal douche, Shankler. I don't remember the guy's name. Shackelberg, Shankman. I don't know. Maybe you know. So this guy inflated the price of drugs that were available for people who needed them, and really couldn't live without them. And inflated them to astronomical levels to make a profit. He basically bought the patent off these drugs. And inflated the price to make huge profits. Well, that was fine. The business world seemed to let that go. They were okay with you exploiting people's health and well-being for profit. But then he stole money from insiders, people inside the industry, Wall Street types. And suddenly there was a big issue, and he went to jail. Not for what he should have gone to jail for, but from stealing from his own. And that's essentially what happened with SBF in a way. He didn't steal necessarily, but he insulted one of the biggest like crypto guys there is, like higher on the ladder, or down in the sewer than he is. And that caused him to basically just expose the house of cards that SBF had set up. And it's the whole thing's already pretty much collapsed. It's just very few people. I shouldn't say very few people, but the liberal media aren't covering it because too many liberals, politicians who basically tell the media what to say anyways, don't want to give back their donations. This is the world we live in, man. This is the world we live in. It's crazy, but it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Again, this guy is so well connected. I don't think he'll lose his money. All the investors, or I guess I have to say investors, all the people who put money into it, the gamblers will lose their money. And he'll probably get in terms of punishment, jail or something. He'll get like a slap on the wrist, because he's just too insulated. He's too well connected to the politicians of Washington, and he's giving them money, and he's, he was the goose that was laying their golden eggs, and all of it was a sham. Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, let's check out some other news. That's SBF. That's all up on Rumble if you want to check that out. I'm probably going to put it up on YouTube today. YouTube's actually airing more of my stuff, which is strange. They rarely do. Maybe they just, they're like, oh, well, Rumble's airing all of his stuff. Maybe we should get a piece of this, huh? So this is like a serious one here on Fox News. They're opening with parents on high alert. Doctors sound the alarm, beg Biden to take action as killer virus sends record number of kids to hospital. So that's a legitimate thing. I guess this is RSV or RVS virus to be on the lookout for. And there's, it is what it is. It's coming, and these viruses are going to happen, when they happen, especially when we're all working on them in labs to make them more potent. We got to make these viruses more deadly so we can figure out how to fight them if they become more deadly. Oh, crap. You left the door open. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened with this RSV or RVS, but it could have. Based on RSV, just want to make sure I say it right. Based on past performance of these labs, or soup kitchens in Wuhan or whatever the hell, the Democrats, are they still on that? Are they still clinging to that theory, that misinformation, if you will, that was clearly not? Elon Musk, I love Musk because he's like every time that the libs whine about something, he just slaps them again. He's like, yeah, you think that's bad? How about this? Oh yeah, you think how about this? And he's just sticking it to him. I love it. I love that, because so many people, everybody just kowtows. Oh, this and that. We have to They had that guy, a man, it's transgender, I guess, but a rather large fella, let's call him, who identifies as a woman in the beauty pageant. You probably saw that. Yeah, basically just found a dress and walked out on stage and said, "You're the winner." And it was a contest. It was supposed to be for women, biological, but no, that would be transphobic. So women are just getting screwed. Guys don't have to worry. We really don't, because if it's a sporting event and a woman comes into it and they're like, "Hey, I identify as a male and I want to be on the boys this team, football, cross country, baseball, doesn't matter." Well, okay, see if you make the team. They won't. Very, very slim chance. They might, unlikely. Meanwhile, you go the other way. Some guy's like, I want to be a girl. I feel like he's going to smoke everybody. There's another story about again. These parents get so frustrated because their daughters are getting screwed. They fought so hard for women's sports and they're giving it away for wokeness. So these parents are upset now. I mean, it happens everywhere, but now there's this cross country runner. I think at the high school level, and the guy who I guess is now a girl, when he was competing as a freshman, was like 72nd overall at the regional level, at the national level, which it's not terrible, but as a woman, number one. And so these parents are like, "Man, this isn't fair. This isn't fair." So, and it isn't, and I agree with them 100%. But I have a disclaimer: if you vote Democrat, you have no right to complain. You're the one voting this idiocy in. It's your votes that are doing this. Now, if didn't vote Democrat, yeah, I would complain a lot. Maybe other people will wake up too. But it's your own family, your own blood, your own girls, your own daughters, your biological daughters. When you vote Democrat, you are literally saying, "To hell with you! I'm putting my wokeness in front of you, and I'm going to participate in this insane circus of insanity that says, biological males should be allowed to compete with biological females." It's absurd, unless you just want to get rid of women's sports entirely, and maybe once in a blue moon, a girl makes a boys team. That's where we're, I can just shake my head about it, but yet people they keep voting for it. It's just the insane, the level of detachment, of just insanity, of zealotism that you must have to a party to do this to your own flesh and blood, or to someone else's, really. But I mean, I'm trying to get you as close to understanding this as you can. And I say you, I mean, I'm talking to dopey Democrats who are just here going mad about it. Oh, I'm speechless on it. I'm so speechless on that particular subject. Makes no sense. All right, back to Musk. But what I'm saying is, like, Musk, he calls people out. He does, because that's the thing. You say it, you get canceled, and so people don't say anything. Just okay, let the guy win. But Musk is giving everyone such a hard time on Twitter right now. He's basically said he did his immediate firing, so he fired a bunch of people all at once. Now he's doing the second round, basically, but it's kind of like a covert second round of firings. Basically, he's letting the employees fire themselves. He's like, well, why am I doing all the work? I mean, obviously he knew he had a hit list coming in. He's like, oh my God, these people are so egregiously liberal or leftist. They got to go. We were trying to create an open platform. Let's get people who are attached to that idea and not going to be fighting it tooth and nail. So on the second round of sort of covert cuts, he's basically saying, listen, you got to come to the office. You got to be in person. And if you're not going to come into the office, and if you're not going to be in person, I will consider that your resignation. Good. Again, get rid of the dead weight. Get rid of the left weight, basically. If you're committed to, you're not going to go in and work hard for this guy if you really resent him or have such an opposite ideology. Why would you work hard for someone you consider to be the enemy in a way? So by doing that and by upping the hours, I mean, he's finding out who's all in on an open platform and who's just kind of keeping low profile to try and throw a wrench in the works at some point. So good, keep it up. You're getting rid of the I don't know. You're getting rid of the bad employees pretty much. So good on Elon. Keep it up. More fun stuff here. Pelosi's attack. This is all on Fox. It says immigration authorities contradict San Francisco's reason for denying interview with Pelosi suspect. So ICE apparently came in, wanted to interview this DePape guy who hit Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer. It's just it wouldn't. None of this would be an issue if they were forthcoming with facts, but they're not. They're hiding facts. They're releasing a little here, a little there. It's all very insulated. And when that happens, and it's a political figure, especially a Democrat political figure in an extremely Democrat city like San Francisco, doesn't smell right. You know something's fishy. So why not just release the video, release the body cam stuff, release all. And so this whole thing with the ICE agent is, well, if you're trying to keep a lid on something, you want as few leaks as possible. And so if you allow this ICE agent to come in and just ask the guy some questions, because he was an illegal from Canada, he might say something that contradicts what the police are currently releasing, or really not releasing at this point. But like the New York oh my God, the NBC story where they released all these things where they're like, well, why was he in his underwear walk into the door? And then why didn't he tell the officers that he was in any danger? And then he walked back to the guy and then he got hit in the head with it. I mean, it's just, you're like, what? So rather than being open, they appear on the surface to be concealing information. So not letting someone from ICE come in and question the suspect is perfectly in line with that. Plus, you also have the fact that it's a sanctuary city, so they barely let ICE anywhere near the city anyways. And then they were claiming that the guy never showed ID. The guy said he did. I think he probably did. It doesn't matter. I mean, the fix is in. The fix is in. And so again, your doubt in the media increases. Your doubt in the San Francisco PD decreases. Because they're all so interconnected, interwoven, and the fix is in, man. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with this story, but it's really not a lot coming out of it, and that's on purpose. And at this point, Nancy's already left, so who cares? Really. Okay. Oh yes. Another weird one. A lot of weird stories this week. This guy. Catch and release, it says. Attempted murder suspect released hours after allegedly slamming into sheriff's recruit. So this guy's a psycho. He's either malicious or I think he's malicious. I think it was on purpose. It appears it was on purpose. He crashed his vehicle into a group of police officers who were on a run. It was a police academy group type formation. There was a lot of them, 30, 40 of them, I think. They're all running along the road. And it appears from the video, he actually accelerates, heads beeline. He's driving the wrong way, too, down the road. Include that. Slams into all of them and finally comes to a stop after he hits a telephone pole. Many, many injuries, loss of limb. I mean, just horrible stuff. And then I thought, well, okay, maybe the guy's drunk. He's high on something. And he's stone cold sober. Stone cold sober. They did a test on him. They released that. He was completely zero on the blood alcohol level. And when you look at the pictures of the guy, he just looks like he ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look, he's not the kind of guy who like, oh my God, I hit, oh my, like you're like, you hit like a bunch of people and you might've killed a lot of them. That's not, he's just got this stone face, just kind of like, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, just not even like shock. It's not even like a face of shock. The dude's like, but then they released him. So, in my head, I'm like, well, we live in California. This is in California. You got no cash bail everywhere. Maybe I'm like, that's absolutely insane. But apparently the police department said, no, we're going to let him go so we can get all our facts straight and then bring him back. All right. What? I mean, there must be some logic behind it, right? You would think. I would assume they've got this guy, even though, they've released him, being tailed, should have a copter over the guy's head the whole time. But like, how much facts do you need? He plowed into 30 recruits and he was sober and he was driving the wrong way on the street, and they're trying to prove intent. I don't know. I wouldn't have released him. But again, because we're in California, you figure, well, maybe they did because it was the no cash bail. They release all these fentanyl suspects. They've got thousands of fentanyl pills. Oh yeah. They go out on no cash bail and then they never see him again. They go to Mexico or just get the hell out. Why would they come back? Why would they come back to certain incarceration after a court, but these judges are like, we got up with no cash bail, okay. See you later, fella. Please come back. Okay. It's madness. Taylor Swift, I did a piece on her. You've probably seen, and again, it's like, I usually do news, but this was like, everyone's making such a big deal about it. I was like, I guess I'll do something on it. Taylor Swift nosebleed seats cost over $1,000 per ticket. Prices skyrocket following Ticketmaster sale cancellation. All these pre-sales, it's just a way to eke more money out of you, essentially, right? I mean, when you go to these pre-sales, generally speaking, there's a premium on them. Not always, but I feel like it costs you more money going in. And in some cases, they're just outright saying it's going to be a little extra, but you get in on the pre-sale. Others have tie-ins with like credit cards. Like I think I don't remember what her tie-in was. I think hers, you had to be a member of the fan club, which again, that's a verified fan. I hate to say it. I did that for Willie Nelson. I think I joined this fan club because I like Willie Nelson, and I got my early ticket. But I had to pay for that. You're paying for that privilege. So it's all about just kind of, I don't want to say shaking you down, but kind of shaking you down a little bit. It's like you want the early access. Well, you're going to need to pay this money. So I guess I'm not super familiar with Taylor Swift's fan club, but I assume there's a fee that you have to pay to be a member, and then you get verified, and then you're supposed to have early access to these tickets. Well, what happened is she had like supposedly 1.5 million verified fans. And they open up the queue, if you will, and it just gets slaughtered with people. Like 14 million people showed up, online. And to me, that made sense because, out of 14 million, you'd figure, 12.5 of them, Taylor Swift, you're probably anonymous. People like who cares about Taylor Swift? Well, clearly 14 million people do. I mean, I was like, I should just do a piece where I just make fun of Taylor Swift. But I'm like, well, people like her. I mean, I'm not against her. I don't really care one way or the other. I don't think I like her politics. I really don't know much about her politics from what I read. I think we probably are on opposite sides, maybe. But clearly people like her. You don't have 14 million people crashing a site just randomly. But the issue people seem to have isn't so much with being scalped, which Ticketmaster is doing. It's that they weren't allowed to be scalped, because what happened was you had all these people coming at once, crash the site. So the people who paid for this, privilege of coming in, if you join the fan site or whatever, didn't get their tickets, or if they did, it was a long, arduous process. They had to wait for a long time, and now they are not doing a public sale because they don't have the tickets. There's no more tickets left. Basically, they have so few that it doesn't make sense to have a public sale. And now everyone's like, Ticketmaster's a monopoly, and we're going to investigate. Yeah, no kidding. When would you just figure this out? You just figured out Ticketmaster's a monopoly? Wow, you're brilliant. But they're like mad at Ticketmaster for the wrong reason. They're mad at Ticketmaster, not because they're a monopoly, not because they had to pay all this extra money and fees and processing. And by the way, all that money you pay in fees and order processing, you think with all that money, they might have been able to pull off a concert sale, without it crashing constantly. That money goes in their pockets. So you've just got, Mark says, Live Nation is a monopoly and Clear Channel are a monopoly. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, they are. They're monopolies. And it's just funny, though. The people are not so much upset that they're getting fleeced because they're so used to getting fleeced by Ticketmaster and all these companies. They're just mad that it wasn't done in a more efficient way. Like they had a hard time logging on, or their codes didn't work. So they're not mad that they're monopolies. They're mad that they're monopolies and they weren't able to exploit them and fleece them more efficiently. That's what I'm taking away from this. I think they should break them up because it's absurd. It's absurd. I mean, you're just so used to. I'm used to it. I buy tickets all the time. You get a ticket on StubHub, which is where you have to go half the time because of these pre-sale things, and then things like this happen, and the fees are astronomical. And Ticketmaster, they jack you up. They have packages, like in order to get close to the stage, you got to get a hospitality package or a gold package or a VIP package. It's all about add-ons and this and that. And you want to get a really good seat at a popular concert. You're in for $500 on the cheap side. On the cheap side, if you get lucky. And then if you go on StubHub, it's whatever. You're like, that's not a bad price. And then they tack on their fees, and it's more than the Ticketmaster. It's a bad system, but we've become so used to this monopoly, that we're really only upset when the site crashes and we can't properly be exploited. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Again, money talks. So these Ticketmaster, they're no dummies. They have lobbies and lobbyists who give politicians lots of money to protect them, to insulate them from things just like this. So there'll be a lot of squawk, squawk, squawk. Yeah, we should stop. Squawk, squawk. And then nothing happens, or very little happens. Ticketmaster will pay. You know what? They did that a while ago. I got I think it was Ticketmaster. You all may remember this because I'm sure if you bought a ticket, it was through Ticketmaster because it's a monopoly. But they had to give back because they, I think it was based on these fees, these egregious fees that were just horse crap. You had to get like some free concerts, or they had to give you some credits or something. And I remember I was like, oh, I'll go to a concert. They're like, these concerts are eligible for using your credits that we had to give you back because we were robbing you. And then you go in and try and get to the concert. The concerts are all sold out. And then because someone already beat you to it, and then they only had to have that window for like a year or 6 months. And then if you didn't use your credits, you're sorry. It's rigged. It's rigged. They probably worked with the politicians or worked with whoever was, supposedly investigating them or doing this or that to make it as financially appeasing to themselves as they could. And that would be, okay, here's X number of concerts. Here's X number of tickets. This is what we'll lose. There's only so many seats. They already know going in exactly what the cost to them is going to be. They sign off on it. And then, oh, we did something. They're still doing it, right? You did nothing. Part of the game. Drug companies, same thing. They know, with the opioid epidemic and pushing oxycodone on everybody and getting people hooked on it, and they know it's bad and they don't care, but the profits are soaring, and they built it in. They at some point we're going to get hit on this. At some point we're going to get sued. More likely than not, it's going to happen, and so they factor that in. And so even though they pay out all this money, and everyone's like, look at all the money we got from them. I'm a politician. I got lots of money for all the oxycodone, this and that. It was already built in. They already pretty much agreed to pay for it, So yeah, we'll pay this much money, and then you look good, and we look, we're all right with it. We kind of factor, it's a game. It's all a game, and I wish people would realize it. Or at least care that it's being played on them. All right, yeah. There's lots of interesting stuff. You got Warnock, and I didn't mention it, but we got the House, which hey, it's good. It's a good thing. I know not everyone's as excited as it wasn't, such a a red wave as we were hoping, but it's good. It's good. We can now brunt a lot of the socialism that's being thrown our way, and also we can launch investigations. Finally. And I know some people are excited about Biden, yeah, Hunter, we're going to get him. I don't know where I stand on that because it's like a good news, bad news. Let's say Hunter's so guilty. Joe, was in on it. The big guy, come on, put 2 and 2 together for the love of God. So obviously they're paying for access to Biden through Hunter. Hunter makes his money. Maybe Joe gets a cut. Maybe he just wants his son to have some money. I don't know, but that's what's going on. It's clear that's what's going on. It's not news. It's just not being covered by the news or the mainstream media. So let's say it's now suddenly, okay, it's all there. It's in black and white. It is. It's on his laptop. I think a lot of it, and there's phone calls and things like that. But say you get Biden out, what happens then? Who's our president if we get Biden out? Kamala Harris. I think I like Biden better. I hate to say it. I don't know. It's a no win. It's a no. Kamala. Oh my God, Kamala. This is what happens. When you stunt cast your VP, then you stunt cast your president. I don't know if it's Biden stunt casting, but I still can't believe Biden is the president. It boggles the mind. Originally when you had all the candidates on stage and they're doing the debates, you're like, and Biden is clearly even then just senile as all heck, mess. And then the Democrats, the inner workings, the machinations of the Democrat Party determined that he's the one. And then with a lot of help from a pandemic and coerced rioting, encouraged rioting, and suspect voting in some areas, they managed and never-ending assault on Trump. Let's not forget that from the media. They managed to eke out a victory. It's It's embarrassing for this country. And now you got Taiwan. You know, Taiwan's now next on the list for China to just go over and appropriate, because what are they scared of? Joe? They're scared of Biden? Putin's still in Russia. The only reason Putin it doesn't control every part of the Ukraine he wants to is just the gross incompetence of his military structure and his old equipment. And the only thing that's stopping Putin from invading is when he finally dies of cancer, or whatever he seems to appear to have, which, you know, different sources say different things, but he appears to be ill. And then when he dies, hopefully whoever takes over will be like, all right, let's come on back, everybody. But that's just due to the tenacity, the determination, and the military group or planning done by the Ukrainians. I mean, my God, they have been, from a standpoint of a military standpoint, have just been tremendous, considering, you know, that they were written off and it'll be over in like 5-6 days, and here they are still fighting. It wouldn't have happened under Trump. I mean, it wouldn't. Putin wouldn't have gone in there. He wouldn't have. But Biden, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go in there? That's why my feeling is on Taiwan. I feel like China's going to pretty much do whatever they want at this point. Any rogue nation is pretty much going to do whatever they want with little or no fear of consequence, because Joe Biden instills fear in no one. He's a senile old man. Now, granted, he's not the one in charge. We don't really know who is. Is it a group? Probably get together and tell Joe what to do, and then they make him think he's actually in charge. He isn't. That's why they're always walking everything he says back, you know. And then you get an election come, and people stick with the status quo. I live in Los Angeles, and we had two choices. I didn't even know what. I shouldn't say I live in Los Angeles, but I live near Los Angeles. I couldn't vote for the Los Angeles mayor, and so I honestly, you had Caruso running. Caruso in Los Angeles was a Republican, and just a brilliant businessman. Just if you've ever been in Los Angeles, like the Grove. You know, all these beautiful malls and buildings. And I mean, he's just a sharp-minded businessman, a guy who could really get things done, turn things around. He was there and he was ready to take the reins. People were excited about him. And yet we got a mayor basically out of a, you know, she checked the right boxes for liberals. She was African-American, I think LGBT, and maybe one other. There was like 3 things she was. And then again, these qualifications are not really qualifications. They're just checks in a woke box, but that's what gets you elected. So rather than go with this brilliant business-minded Caruso, who really could have turned Los Angeles around, he went with just whatever, you know, the same old thing. You know, oh, look, let's check these boxes. Our only hope really for Democrats, because they just seem so dopey about it, is eventually maybe we check all the boxes. You know, like, hey, we've had this, we've had this, we've had this, we've had this, we've had this. Last mayor was also, you know, disabled, you know, whatever all the boxes are. When they all get checked, can we finally get somebody based on skill, on merit? You know, maybe make things better. No, we're better off just checking off woke boxes and going, okay, you're next. It's absurd. It's idiocy, and yet it's business as usual. And so Los Angeles, I don't see it getting any better for 4 years. It will get worse. There's no question about that, because nothing is in place to stop it. There's no buttress against it. You just hired the same, basically. You voted for the same policies that you had before that were failing, and you said, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that some more. So yeah, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. Is it going to get New York bad? I don't know. You're such a mess right now. You got Alvin Bragg. We have our version of Alvin Bragg. You know, we have D.A. Gascon, who I think is up for his 2nd recall now. But again, if you have the people at the top have the same policies and ideology as the DA, they'll funnel in some new guy or promote some new guy who's pretty much same old. And so, you know, people are leaving. Why wouldn't they? Why would you stay in LA? I don't live in LA. I live outside LA. And it's night and day difference. You know, we actually have law enforcement here. People are supportive of law enforcement here. It makes a difference. It makes a difference, you know. All right, let me check out New York Post, which is my favorite news source. I love Fox News too, but New York Post always they have funny headlines. That's really what it's all about. Yeah, there's a story about the Idaho, the 4 teens or college students who were killed. That's a weird one. No one really knows what the hell's going on with that. But it's fascinating nonetheless. More Taylor Swift stuff. It's like I'm like, why am I doing a story on Taylor Swift? It's like it's all in the news, and I guess it's entertainment news. One guy is just like I put it up on Rumble, and one guy's like, hey, there's all these real problems in the world, and this and that. And blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, my story was in the entertainment section. Why are you trolling the entertainment section and you want world events? Once in a while, I'm going to do a celebrity story. Usually it's Kim Kardashian because she's always in the news. But once in a while, yeah, I'm actually going to do some celebrity stuff. Cowell's riding this is New York Post. Cowell's still riding an electric bike without a helmet after multiple accidents. You know what? Good for him. It's a free country. Let him do what he wants. If you get in an accident every time you get on a bike and you always hitting your head and you want to go out the next day and do it again, you know what? It's a free country. Let him do what he wants to do. I'm tired of the nanny state. Yeah, it's like Post says numbskull. That's their headline. Simon Cowell still rides electric bike without helmet after multiple. Yeah, okay, sure. But it's still, it's a free country. Not really. Used to be, sort of. But let the guy do what he wants. Is this smart? No. Clearly he's not very good on a bike. Probably wants elbow pads and knee pads too. But, again, let him do what he wants, man. It was a free country. All right, let me check out CNN real quick. Is there going to be January 6th coverage on CNN? I mean, now that the elections are over, I thought like as soon as the elections were over, they would just be like, okay, we're done. We're done with January 6th. But now that Trump has announced he's running, they're like, okay, let's get January 6th again. Nobody cares about January 6th. January 6th had no impact on the election. None. Nobody cares. Biden asks SCOTUS to let student loan proceed. Oh yeah, there's another one. They're not covering the actual story, of course. But it's still a big story. The whole student loan thing was completely unconstitutional from the get-go. Biden knew that. Why did he do that? So he could get people to vote for him, younger people to vote for him. Hey, he's going to forgive our student loans. He knew it was never going to work. He knew it was completely illegal. He knew that the Supreme Court would never uphold it, but he did it because he knows you're a bunch of suckers. And oh, look at that. The election's over. Sorry. Yeah, not going to happen. Oh, well, hey, thanks for the vote. Figure something out, kids. Or just get lied to next election when he promises you, $10,000 for, I don't know, wearing a blue shirt. And then you're like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then, a couple of days after the election, yeah, the Supreme Court knocked that down. You can't get 10,000 for your blue shirt. And you already bought a blue shirt. All right. So, at least, yeah, this is good though. I don't see anything on January 6th. And I figured I wouldn't. I was just like, once, because all that was basically trying to prevent a Republican surge, which again, nobody cared about it, but this is the first time I've been on CNN in a while and have not seen some sort of January. Even CNN, I guess, is finally like, all right. And CNN's ratings are terrible. You know that. They're talking about layoffs. All these woke companies are going through layoffs, and they're going through, the ratings have been abysmal for CNN, MSNBC for quite some time. Maddow was the only one I think who ever got ratings on MSNBC, and she's kind of leaving. She's barely there. And so this is what happens when you sell out your journalistic soul, when you sell out your journalistic integrity for a political party. When the heat from that, whatever it was, which in this case was bashing Trump, dies off, you have no credibility, even amongst those whose side you are supposedly on, because they know you for what you are. They know you for propaganda. Okay, yeah, Mark says CNN and Fox both need to give up on journalism. I obviously lean Fox, but I feel like what you have to do these days is they need to come to Pod TV. Thank you. You're 100% right on that, Mark. You have to take both sides. It's hard to get the truth these days. I wish it wasn't, but you have to look at both sides. Usually the truth is in the middle somewhere, because you have this over here and this over here. And somewhere in the middle usually lies the truth. But for me, and again, this is my opinion, I feel like I go to Fox, I go to New York Post. I know what my sources are. I find them much more reliable, much more consistently reliable. I find I get less just excerpts of video. I get the whole video. I get less proven guilty or guilty until you're proven innocent. That you get from the left. I get the less. That's just me. That's what I find, and that's why I stick there. But I always will counter if I'm suspicious or suspect. Like, what is it? And try and get to the middle, because again, that's where the truth usually is. But if you're gonna go for news, Mark, please, Fox or the Post. CNN. Oh God. But at least, hey, something. They didn't put anything up on January 6th. So good for them. I'm really proud of you, CNN. Oh, look at you. It's not going to be a time to save your network, but and again, they're doing Disney's not doing very well right now. Their stock was, I think, at 10-year lows last week. It's not surprising with all the woke nonsense. They lost 1.5 billion on their streaming service. That's a lot of money to lose on a streaming service, and people just don't want to pay for it. Like, why you want to pay to be entertained? You don't want to pay for a woke lecture, even if it's an animated one. So it's no surprise. And then you got Chapek or whatever his name is, and with Florida, his comments in Florida that caused their self-governing status to be removed because he was in favor of, and again, why do you, if you're in favor of it, okay, be in favor of it, but when you're making like, oh, I'm going to be political and woke, and look at me, everybody, look how woke I am. He said basically that he thought he wanted the law in Florida where it was okay to teach sexuality and transgenderism to kids from kindergarten to third grade. Let them be kids. It would kill you. It's not like you can be, hey, you're in third grade, you're in kindergarten. Let's get you some hormone blockers. What? You can't come back from that. You can't decide later. And you see it all the time. People who are one sex, they go to another, they try and go back to the other sex. It's not going to happen, especially at these younger ages. It's just not going to happen. It's not a park hopper pass. You don't get to be a male today and then a female tomorrow and then the surgery. No. Be mature. I mean, you won't let them. I'm talking about driving. These are kindergartners. These are third graders. Let them play on the slide. Before you come in with your woke, all your woke crap. Ugh. And so, anyways, the Disney guy, Chapek, is just like, yeah, we need this taught at these grade levels, transgenderism and sexuality. No, you don't. Not in kindergarten, not in third grade. You want to cover it in the, I don't know, in the, not the home ec class, but this, whatever they call it, the sexual orientation. I don't know what they call it, but you're sex ed. Okay, cover it then. You leave the kindergartners out. When I was in my sex ed class, I don't remember them ever opening the door and saying, oh, the kindergartners want to come in and check this out. What? No, they're out of the slides playing and laughing and enjoying each other. And completely oblivious to race until, the wokester Democrats who seem to run these schools turn them against each other. That's it. That's how you get votes. That's how they get votes. So, all right, I'll go probably leave on that. All right, hey, thank you so much, everyone. God bless. Check me out on Rumble if you can. Jeff Ahern on Rumble. I'm on TikTok, heavily censored. YouTube, pretty censored. But Rumble's been very good to me. So please check me out on Rumble at Jeff Ahern. JEFFAHERN. Ideally, if you want everything from podcasts to shows to merch, you name it, join me at jeffahern.com. Oh, and Mark claims we have a new TikTok star who I don't know who she is, but yeah, maybe she is a star. I don't know. Is she some big lefty, Mark? Mark kind of likes the lefties. Kim Calhoun. I don't know who that is. I know Jim Calhoun. Oh, 1 million views. Yeah, I got 1.7 million views. Check that, Mark. Oh, she's the co-owner of Pod TV. Man, I love her. She's phenomenal. I've never loved anybody more. You should really put the co-owner of Pod TV up ahead of everything else. So I know to kiss a little butt here. Yeah, check out Kim. I don't know Kim. I know Jim Calhoun, like I was saying, coach of the Huskies when they were good. UConn men's basketball. Great coach. All right. I'll leave on that after insulting the CEO or whatever I just did. All right. Thank you. God bless. Have a great week. And check out Kim Calhoun on where? On TikTok. All right. Good. Thanks, Mark. I'm glad. All right. Bye, everybody. God bless. And I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hello and welcome to Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is the new face of the Republican Party, winning Florida by almost 20 points. That's not just winning, that's high-stepping your way into the end zone to become the Super Bowl MVP, though I'm pretty sure he won't be going to Disneyland. It turns out there was a red wave. It's just it was limited to Florida. So let's address the elephant in the room, or the reason there won't be more elephants in the rooms of Congress and the Senate. And it's a simple truth. Democrat voters hate Trump more than their lives under Democrat rule. And that is saying something, because their lives under Democrat rule are horrible, deplorable really. But they were brainwashed for 4 years straight in a twisted Pavlovian experiment to see if the very mention of a man's name could make them pick up pitchforks and torches in his pursuit. Is it right? No, but it is. And you can't argue with what is, unless you're a Democrat, in which case you can argue about anything. The fact is that Trump never got a fair shake, and it doesn't matter. The fact is that his character was dragged through the mud and lies were made up about him by the hour, and that doesn't matter either. What matters is he's ballot box poison. Is it right? No, but it is. If it's any consolation, the networks that did this to him had to sacrifice all their journalistic credibility to do it, resulting in their current viewership on par with late-night infomercials. Poetic justice, since at this point they're Democrat infomercials. So why would the liberal media be willing to shoot through their own chests to get at Trump? Because he beat them. He upended their predetermined political outcome for the 2016 election, shining a light on what the puppet masters in the mainstream media had been attempting. I will always be grateful to Donald Trump for that, and for getting as much done as he did with a daily assault from the berserkers in the mainstream media. But the time has come to pass the baton, because like it or not, we can't win with Donald Trump. Is it right? No, but it is. And you can't argue with what is. And what is Ron DeSantis, who is very much like Trump, but with one key difference. In 2024, he can win.